Making a decision about your relationship is never easy, but you don't have to do it alone. Inside The Decision, the only place where I offer direct coaching, I help women just like you navigate the uncertainty of their marriage. Today, I'm opening the doors and sharing a behind-the-scenes look at a real Q&A session. In this episode, you'll hear real questions, real coaching, and real breakthroughs. Whether you're facing a tough decision or just seeking clarity, I hope this gives you exactly what you need to take your next step.
What do I do with this situation? It keeps happening. When there's an opportunity for husband to go have some fun with friends, and that is often, I now encourage him to go and have a great time. Don't worry about me. I'm relieved to be alone, and I'm more of a stay-at-home introvert. So get this. I am too. But I am met with skepticism, and that doesn't go away. He thinks I'm going to backstab him with mentioning the events, being left out, etc. when he returns, and I don't anymore. As history, I did act this way earlier in our relationship. He would go out with the guys, go hunting, go to a shooting range, hang out with his buds and friends from high school. Often I'd stay home with, I'm just paraphrasing. Often I'd stay home with the children who are now grown and flown. I like that phrase. We couldn't afford babysitting for 4, and I'd have a mountain of schoolwork. So I felt like I was the prize that was won and then put on a shelf. There were and still are many times that he'd say, are we doing anything, 3 months out? And then he'd scoop that day up on the calendar for his event and lock it in, and it became a must do. So there was history here of why he would say, oh, the other shoe is going to drop. And so this is essentially what she's asking. And she says, currently, I don't care where he goes or what he does or how often he does it. So I don't have a plan of backstabbing when he returns. He doesn't believe me. Yeah. And so she says, I'm pigeonholed in this space, in this mind that has me negatively labeled for life. He gives others the benefit of the doubt, but not me. I've established boundaries and have most often curbed negative lizard thoughts. He refuses to see it. He says he's waiting for the other shoe to drop. What I would do is why do many of my answers come back to speaking very directly to the issue as opposed to, just answering the questions that are asked, because I feel like then we just stay at surface level. So I wonder what would happen or how the conversation might evolve a bit if you went to him and said, you know what, I totally understand why you think I'm going to hold this against you. Because for a long time I did. I was here with the kids and you were able to go out and have fun. And, for a while that didn't feel good. But now I have time for me. And yes, the things I like for me are very different than what you like to do. But I'm not going to tell you to not do the things that you want to do, just like I'm not going to stop doing the things that I want to do. So while I understand how we got here and how you think that there's some price to be paid when I go out and have a good time, I want you to know that there's not. And I want you to go out and have a good time, genuinely. And I wonder if we drop in a little bit more into the conversation and just acknowledge, I understand why you feel the way that you do, but I'm genuinely more conscious of it now and trying to change. But also our circumstances are very different today. We don't have 4 little ones running around, or however many there were. Yeah, 4. Now I get to have time to myself. And frankly, it feels pretty luxurious. So when you have time to yourself, that's not a bad thing for me. It helps me refill my cup when you're out refilling your cup. And then we get to come together as a couple, both cups filled. Isn't that a lovely thing? Okay, try that. And this is one that I know several of you are struggling with. So that's why I spent some time preparing for it today. And who knows, maybe one day it'll turn into a mini teaching. We'll see. I haven't posted in a while, but feeling like I'm at an impasse and struggling with confusion. We've been working our way through couples counseling since January, and I'm about halfway through the videos in Marriage 2.0. I've been to Sedona for a spiritual retreat, been in individual counseling, reading books, doing all the work on myself, and I feel I see the change in myself. While I and we have grown tremendously and there is more communication, hard conversations, understanding, and respect, I still am not feeling romantic, deep love feelings surface for me. It's more love, care, and respect for a friend I care deeply about. He's a really solid man who has shown me a lot of love and grace through this journey and grown himself as a result of this. It's confusing for me because at the same time, I wonder if this should be enough for me to keep my family together or if I should just keep trying to go deeper on my feelings. I don't know why I can't get there with him when he's so solid and loving me unconditionally through this. He doesn't understand how or why he can't be enough for me. I'm confused at what point I call it what it is for me. How I trust I know what it is or to keep working. I don't have much comparison to even know for certain what I have and don't have within myself. I'm still unable to find the attraction and affection I would want in an intimate relationship for myself to reciprocate back to him. He has all this and is working to provide it to me. So I brought up the idea of a trial separation as another rock to turn over to see if this would offer me any additional clarity. He's willing to do whatever it takes to help me, but is very sad over this as well and doesn't want that. He wants to keep working on it while together under the same roof until I tell him my decision. I struggle to know if that is the right decision as all of the challenging logistics that involves of separating. And then more people and our kids enter into what's going on, where it's been pretty much private up to this point. Any suggestions? Okay. So most of you by now probably have watched the From Disconnection to Desire video series. The primary purpose of that was to give you sort of a trajectory of you don't go from disconnection to desire. That's too big of a jump. There's all these steps in between. And if we can take it step by step, then we can ultimately get there. So there are people who have done a lot of those steps and they're still missing the attraction and desire piece. And that's the piece that they're struggling with. So the things that have to be overcome to get to that place are things like you have to dramatically improve your communication. I already know that because every couple needs to improve their communication, me included. Everyone can get better at this. Create more intimacy. Trust and respect have to be present. We have to heal and release our resentments. We have to see the good or genuinely appreciate, be in a state of appreciation for our partner. We have to have lowered our stress, which means our amygdala has to be turned off. We have to be out of our heads, in our bodies, and very present. And we have to no longer feel anger or irritability towards our partner, more love and gentleness. So for many of you, this will not be relevant yet because you have all that work to do, right? But if you get to this place where you're like, look, I really have grown. We're very kind and compassionate and gentle towards one another. And I love this human being with my whole heart, but I don't desire and I'm not attracted to them. That's where I'm going to spend the rest of this little block of time talking about. Here's what's happening. The oxytocin in your body, oxytocin is the feel-good hormone. They call it the love hormone, the cuddle hormone, the bonding hormone. It's the feel-good hormone. Oxytocin, that's what we associate with attraction and desire, and it is gone. It is there and present early on in almost every relationship. Otherwise, it wouldn't keep going. And it will go away in every relationship unless you naturally or like very intentionally feed it. Okay. And we can't talk about attraction and desire without talking about hormones. And because we cannot see the hormone changes in our bodies, we think attraction and desire is some kind of magic, like it's there with some people at some times, and then it's not there. And I don't know how to get it back. Right. So this is the challenge that we're being faced with. And everyone's hormone levels on all the different attraction and desire hormones are different. So I'm looking at my notes because this is the part that I did a little prep for. So many times I will see, like, when an affair is discovered, that the couple will actually have the most amazing sex that they've ever had, even before the affair was ever found out. Now think about why that might be, because we come so close to that edge of losing someone that's when, so I'll read you it'll be easier if I just read this. Coming that close to losing someone heightens the phenomenon of passionate love in the brain circuits of both men and women. The brain desperately, hungrily seeks the loved one. It goes through withdrawal as if weaning from a drug, and that's what takes over. It can feel as though your very survival is threatened and your amygdala goes into fear, like high alert. So testosterone is another hormone that is related to sexual desire in the brain. We can't talk about desire without talking about testosterone. Men always have 10 to 100 times more testosterone But women also have testosterone. Okay. When there's enough testosterone, it revs the hypothalamus, part of your brain, igniting erotic feelings, arousing sexual fantasies and physical sensations in your erogenous zones. If female testosterone drops below a certain level, you'll lose sexual interest altogether. Someone asked that in the forum this week, where I don't have it, like I'm through menopause and I don't have any sexual desire. And then we started talking about hormones. This is a thing. And it starts in our 30s, ladies. So this is not like, well, we wait till we're in our 50s when we're going through menopause. Like these transitions start happening in our, I'm going to say 30s in general. But for some reason, sometimes people will go through menopause in their late 30s. Like there's no rhyme or reason. Everyone is really different. But I just want to say that because I don't want you to go, oh, but that's irrelevant to me because I'm nowhere near menopause. This stuff happens a decade before you go through menopause. Okay. Estrogen plays a role too. Now, it plays a role in combination with testosterone. It's what makes females more receptive to sex. It's also essential for lubrication. When our estrogen declines, so too does our oxytocin, the feel-good hormone. Okay. So here's some of the language that will resonate with many of you. When our estrogen declines, so too does our oxytocin, which creates changes like she's less concerned about keeping the peace. She's getting less of a dopamine rush from the things she did before, even talking with her friends. She's not getting the calming oxytocin reward of tending to her little children because they're grown. So she's less inclined to be as attentive to others' personal needs. And because we can't see our hormone changes, our partners can't see our hormone changes. We're like trying to make sense of these changes that we're seeing in our spouse, where they used to be loving and nurturing and willing to sort of back burner all their interests and desires. And now they're like, yeah, no. I'm not doing that. And I don't want sex. And I'm going to go out with my friends and I'm going to do all the things that light me up. And so it's very unsettling to a relationship and certainly to our partners. So then I was like, all right, well, if I need to feel attraction and desire, like I've worked through all the other hard stuff, right? So again, this is not for everyone. This is like when you've worked through all the other hard stuff and now you're just at this really gentle, loving place. But the thing that's missing is like, I don't want to have sex because I don't desire him or I'm not attracted to him. So then we have to address the oxytocin. And this is something you will have to address in every relationship, every long-term relationship, unless you want to keep hopping. You know, if you just want a new relationship every 5 years or so, like you probably won't have to deal with this. But if you want a long-term committed relationship, eventually the oxytocin is going to go down unless you are actively trying to feed it, which you can do. So here's some ideas of how you can do that to increase oxytocin. The first is we've got to insert more fun. Fun. Who's got time for fun? We're busy. We've got things to do. We stop having fun with our partners, don't we? Right? And so we stop having fun. Ideally, it's doing something fun that is also new, because new feels adventurous. Okay. So if you remember the love and desire chart, what were the things on the desire side of the equation? The things like adventure and mystery and risk. And I'm not suggesting you go skydiving, although you might do that. I will not be doing that with you. But it doesn't have to be super risky, but it can just be something new. Like we've never kayaked before. And so we're going to go kayaking. We've never gone to this country before. We're going to go to this country together. We've never taken a cooking class before together. We're going to do that. Cooking, by the way, is a great activity to do because it incorporates the senses. Think about it. There's a smell as whatever it is you're making, as it's cooking, the smell even changes, right? If you've got garlic and onions on the stove, and then that has a certain smell, and then you add the tomatoes, and then you add the meat or whatever, the smell, the sound, the crackling, the whatever, and then the touch, the tactile nature of the food, and then of course the taste. So cooking is a good one because it incorporates the senses. I did put in the circle, just the homepage. I think I put it in the homepage, just an article from Esther Perel that was on how to incorporate, she calls it eroticism, I was like, that is a hard word for me to even say today, eroticism, because it sounds like super kinky when it's just incorporating the five senses. That's all it is into your experience with your partner, so that then that can create more vibrancy and probably oxytocin. So I did put that in there for those of you that want to check that out. The second thing you can do. So first, have more fun, some kind of fun, ideally something new. Second thing, you won't want to do this right away, but it is the single quickest way to increase your oxytocin: touch, hug, hold hands. That's the single quickest way to increase your oxytocin. So if you can spend more time holding hands, if you can hug instead of a buddy hug or a 1 second hug, do it 2 or 3 seconds longer. There's lots of studies on like when oxytocin gets released. It's something like a 30 or 60 second hug. It's for sure feels like way longer than is comfortable. I remember even a guy who I used to do yoga with. He was a big hugger, and he was like, I'm going to hug you, but I'm hugging you for 20 seconds. And he'd do that to everyone. He was just a love. And he was always heart to heart. He would say it. He's like, heart to heart hug. And he's like, and he would just hold you there for 20 seconds. I'm like, okay. All right, we good? Good. Like, it's going to feel longer and it's going to feel awkward, but that is what helps you release more oxytocin. So I know you won't like that one, but there it is. Number 3, flirt. And the other thing we stop doing once we get married is we stop flirting with our partner. So that means we lessen the anticipation. You know what it's like before you go on a vacation and you're like looking forward to it and you're thinking about what you're going to pack and you're doing a little shopping and you're like, oh, I'm going to bring this outfit. And you're like talking about it to your friends and you're thinking about it. You know, you're going online and like, what adventures are we going to do? What things are we going to see? What tours are we going to book? Like all of that anticipation is that's just building oxytocin. Sometimes the anticipation feels better than the actual trip. It really does. But when we stop flirting inside of our relationships, we lose that anticipation. So this is another thing that we got to bring back. And so this is why I say the oxytocin is going to go away unless you will tend to it very consciously, like continuing to touch and hold hands and hug, like continuing to flirt, like continuing to do things that are fun together, find ways to laugh together, have some levity, not so much like, let's wrestle this issue to the ground. Let's have another deep conversation. Let's, like sometimes you just got to lighten it up and just go out and have a good time together. And the fourth thing I would say that you can do is slow it down. This is something I'm really trying to do more of in my own life. And because I know I attract many women who are like me, get it done, do the things. What do I need to do to solve this problem? Slow it all down. Take some breaths. Drop into the moment. Notice the person sitting across from you. Look in their eyes. What do you see? Just be present in the moment, in the experience, and not so much like, well, I want to be attracted to you and I'm just not attracted to you. So I guess we're done. Like we got to slow it down, not be so much like trying to make it happen, and instead be present and allow it to happen. Like don't have like another knockdown, drag out conversation about like why I don't want to have sex, because that doesn't make you want to have sex. It's talking about the issue, and the energy of the issue and the energy of that solution are two very opposite energies. So you got to get out of that energy and get into another energy, and presence is a way to do that. Okay. And then this is my last little pitch for those that think it shouldn't take any effort at all, which I know that's none of you. It just might be your spouses. Well, we were courting, we made time for one another. We had fun together. We touched frequently and we flirted, and it was new and exciting. So of course it was easy. Now there's none of that. And we wonder why our desire plummets. People love to say that we shouldn't have to work hard at it, but much like the diet example, you have to keep doing the things that made it work previously and not assume that you can stop doing all the good habits and still get the results. We got to just keep doing the good habits in order to continue to get those same results. Okay.
Finding clarity in your relationship is one of the most important journeys you'll ever take, and you don't have to do it alone. If you're ready for support and guidance, apply for a truth and clarity session. You'll speak with a member of my team who will help you explore your situation and see if working together is the right next step for you. Visit clarityformymarriage.com to apply now. We'd love to support you on this journey.